Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of District 126 Toastmasters International's podcast Perspectives. Our very first guest today here is also a Toastmaster, Toastmaster Hardik Shah. Hardik is a professional with overall about 12 years of experience, has been a Toastmaster for about 8 years. He is a rank holder chartered accountant, an entrepreneur, and a leader, of course. Hi, Hardik. We are thrilled to have you on our first episode, and we're looking forward to learning a lot from you today.
Hi, Shravya. Thank you so much for having me on board and excited to be part of this first podcast journey of District 126.
Thank you, Hardik. Hardik, while I was preparing for this interview, I went and I stalked you on LinkedIn and, of course, through your bio. And I see, as I just said, you are a chartered accountant, a celebrated speaker, an entrepreneur with multiple, I would say, ventures that you have supported and worked with. And there was one question that I couldn't get out of my head. Why are you still a Toastmaster?
Okay, so that's interesting. I think let me go back on the fact that how I started Toastmasters of it. So back in 2016, I think I all my friends were getting married, and I had to make some new friends, and that's how I joined Toastmasters, not for any other reason. And now I'm attending the weddings of my friends I made in Toastmasters. So to put a very फिल्मी डायलॉग टू इट शुरू मजबूर में किया था अब मजा आ रहा है a translation for a lot of our audience down south is that I started just randomly, but now I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and so it just keeps me hooked to be a part of Toastmasters today.
Wow. I think I definitely relate to this. I started in during COVID peak season when you had friends but not friends who were free. So I totally get that vibe. So Hardik, it was, I think, of course, I think what I understand is that you wanted to make a lot of friends, meet new people. So networking was the part that you were actually going for. Then how did you bump into leadership? Because I see that you've been a leader for almost about 4 years out of your 8 years as Toastmaster. So why leadership into Toastmasters and for this long?
So again, when I joined Toastmasters, I thought I will be that backbencher, sit at the end of the room and do nothing, enjoy the experience for a little while, and then go more to something new. Back in school and college, I was always part of some club, some activities, and that leadership kira was always somewhere part of me. So I had to force myself when I joined not to do all of this. But 6 months down the line in my home club, I was kind of pushed and nudged. I was a little active with members around, like take up one role of XCOM. Like,
Hmm.
okay, that's one role it is. I took that one role and then I took a break. I'm like, done. You asked me for one role, I've done that. A year later, I was asked to be an area director, and I'm like, all right, it's just 1 year, one role, and that one role has been a long journey where someone kept nudging, pushing you, and I'm like, now when people tell me that what's your next plan, I tell them I'm changing my name, address, and contact number so that you don't nudge me for further roles. But it was a lot of nudges and pushes from people around the community that is there who see something in you which you don't see in yourself, and that's how you kept getting pushed ahead on the leadership journey. And yep, again, it started with those nudges and it's been a long journey since then.
Okay, so it's accidental leadership into Toastmasters that you were not really aiming for,
Correct.
getting certain things out of this. But I also see that but just because with those nudges, you've come now to become the immediate past district director for District 98. So that means one entire year of being a district director as well, not just other roles. And you've done brilliantly in that role, with what I understand. Under your leadership, District 98 won the prestigious Smedley Distinguished. So, how has that changed your perspective, or what has your learning been in that 1 year of not really wanting to get into leadership, but you actually became a leader, and that too a very good one who's accomplished so much. How has that 1 year changed you as a leader, as a professional?
That's a very interesting school of thought that it's the 1 year that changes you as a leader, a professional. There is a very old saying by Jack Dorsey from Twitter's founder that it takes you 10 years of efforts, determination, perseverance to show look like an overnight success. Before district director, of course, I served as the program quality director, club quality director, division director, area director, club officer roles. And all these have been like those, Lego building blocks that they taught me something about membership, something about clubs, something about Toastmasters, mixed with my intent of curiosity to ask a lot of questions. I'm kind of unpopular among a lot of leaders in the region for asking too many questions and asking why do these things exist? And that's built over the last couple of years that I was part of the Toastmasters leadership. So what I learned during Club Pro Director in terms of what doesn't work in opening clubs, how do you retain clubs? As a PQD, I was like, when do you start nudging clubs to achieve those distinguished club points? And all these over the years, this year was like, okay, I've learned it. It's like the examination day that is there that you're preparing for all these years. And I applied all of that this year. So you see the result today of district becoming smedley, but it's been something that I have learned each step on the way. And that's been one thing that helped us become successful, that you don't just learn at all these points of time. If you don't implement these in your life at some point in time, it's like it's waste of your time and effort, all right? Because if you don't apply what you learn, then what are you learning all of that for? This year taught me a lot about resilience and patience as well. The fact that despite everything, we are still a not-for-profit organization. Right? None of us get paid. You're not getting paying me for doing this podcast, and there is no brand ambassador backing you to, show this podcast. You're taking your time off. Like that, all volunteers, leaders take their time off to be part of this. And still, I was able to drive them to become successful because all of them also were successful. The clubs were successful, the areas divisions were successful, and that's why the district became successful eventually. It's an inverted pyramid that we always talk about. And if I'm able to drive volunteers who actually pay their membership fees to be part of something so unique, such an amazing journey over the year, I'm just trying to imagine the kind of impact that will have in a corporate organization where people actually get paid to do their jobs. And that's the biggest learning, that if you want to do something, if you set out for something, you should be able to achieve it at some point in time.
Right, right. I think definitely that makes sense. And this has been a question, especially the part where Toastmasters is a voluntary organization, and getting people to do things that you want them to do, they can always say no. And that takes a different kind of leadership, that takes a different kind of, let's say, persuasion skills that you don't usually get to use in your corporate world, because you usually have a designation and you can drive things forward saying, hey, I'm the boss, get these things done, and that happens. But I think that definitely is one leadership quality that I'm looking forward to develop, because the way you can persuade and influence people to get things done. I think that's brilliant, Hardik. While you mentioned about corporate world, I always had this question. Toastmasters talks about communication, leadership, and network. So the leadership aspect, as you rightly said, would be slightly different in a voluntary organization. How do you really apply these learnings that you're learning into a corporate setup? Because the setup, as you rightly said, are very different. How can you apply your learnings from a voluntary organization to a corporate world and get the most out of those leadership skills that you've learned here?
So that's always been a challenge for a lot of people, especially even the communication. If you look at it, at times we have a lot of storytelling and drama in terms of our communication, and you can't repeat and replicate those speech formats as it is in terms of your professional lives as well. But that's exactly the thing, right? We get a practice ground to do and experiment a lot of things. So as a leader this year, we have a district which is across 4 states. We have to experiment with promotional and marketing ideas. I'll give one example for like marketing Toastmasters to unknown people. All right. And a lot of people hate sales and marketing as a model, but that's the core of any business. That's how you generate revenue.
Right.
And we did something called an corporate conclave where we got 50 corporates under one roof, pitched Toastmasters to them, communicated, narrated to them, and were able to get those clubs, on board in District 90. A lot of things that you do in Toastmasters is an experimentation ground of something larger that you can replicate in your corporate world. You'll have to join those dots. It's not an apple to apple thing,
Right.
but it's possibly the apple without the skin or
Hmm.
with the skin. It's not an apple to orange change. And that is for us to put that effort to replicate what we do over here. Like I said, right, if what I learn in Toastmasters, if I'm not applying it in my real life, I'm wasting my time out here. That modification will have to happen with your Toastmaster mentor and your corporate mentor.
Hmm.
I mean, I'll give you a very easy example of what we did at my corporate last year was the simple feedback mechanism that we have over here. Now, typically, we do our reviews once a year, and then employees say that, if you had told us before, we will have changed the way we will have got the results better. So I started doing a monthly review with them with the CRC method.
Hmm.
Oh, Shravya, you have been so fantastic in your job. You overmet your numbers on these grounds. But I think the marketing aspect will be changed in this manner. Instead of saying that, Shravya, while you have met your numbers, I don't see the brand being promoted the way it should have been. Please go and rework on that. At the end of 12 months, I have lost 12 months in the process. I have lost your interest and confidence in me as a boss to
Hmm.
guide you on the way. So at times you stop being the boss and start being the mentor to that individual as well. And that changes the environment and ecosystem somewhere that we believe in, that we build in the organization. And that culture change and shift comes with your mindset change because
Correct.
individuals are still the same.
Hmm.
Let's understand that the core of it, it's still an individual, whether it's volunteer or here,
Correct.
right? So that mindset, the psyche remains very similar of individuals. It's just that the approach of us that I am the boss and I'm not the boss, I'm your friend, I'm your mentor, that changes a lot of narratives and equations that you work in a corporate life. And if you're able to bring that, remove that boss feeling out of your corporate life always and start doing that, and use that boss thing very carefully, like a whip,
Right.
when you need to. Right? If you can balance that, it changes a lot of equations in your organization. But that's for us to peel that apple and make that shift is a little effort that happens in the transition between Toastmasters and outside.
I think rightly said. You look at it individually, and then it just looks like you're giving speeches, you're learning about how to give feedback. But unless you really spend time, look at it from afar and see, okay, how can I move these learnings from here to there? As you rightly said, I think comparing an apple, it's not an apple to apple. It's not a simulation or a mock test that's just going to give you like an end result, which makes sense. I think that is a very, very good intake on how to really apply your learnings. And there was one part you mentioned about mentors, and about how some of this takes time. You cannot expect that you're here for 6 months, you learn and gather everything, and you're like, okay, I've been to Toastmasters, I'm now a leader, and I've learned what I need to. I think that makes sense. What would your ideal plan would be for somebody who's just joining Toastmasters? Should it be communication first? Should it be leadership first? Should it be networking first? Which one would you suggest somebody who's just getting into Toastmasters? Because it can quickly get overwhelming with seeing so many things happening around you. Because sometimes that can be helpful for people like me. I was like, yay, there's just so much to do. And then there could be people who are like, oh God, I have a lot on my plate. Do you want me to network? Do you want me to write my speeches? And then there are XCOM roles. Which one would you want me to pick? How would you advise somebody who's just joined Toastmasters on how to navigate through these things?
So I know for when I joined Toastmasters, it was a humorous speech contest. Was my first meeting, and I thought
Oh,
this is
wow.
how Toastmasters is, right? It's fun, it's entertainment, it's competition, and I used to be a little competitive by nature as well. So it got me excited about Toastmasters. I joined Toastmasters immediately after that to realize the real nature of how the meetings and all that happen. All right, uh, but the fact is that for everyone joins Toastmasters for a different purpose.
Right,
It's not even just communication. Like I wasn't scared of the stage. I was
right.
confident for myself. It's just that I could speak at 200 words a minute. The fact that not a lot of people don't understand what I spoke, like what I did right now.
Okay.
But over time, I finally realized that I need to slow down so that other person is able to understand what I'm trying to communicate.
Hmm.
So everyone has a different reason and purpose to be part of Toastmasters. So for some, it could be networking, some it could be leadership, development. Some it could be just teamwork,
Right.
or for an introvert, just a safe space to talk to someone,
Hmm.
right? And we can't and we shouldn't define one journey for everyone.
Right.
Like I know people who have been so engrossed in competing and contesting that they just keep leadership off the radar completely for them.
Hmm.
But they're willing to mentor and stuff like that, but they don't want to take leadership. There are people like us who possibly give one speech a quarter. I have taken part in one contest in the last 8 years.
Oh,
That's it.
wow.
All right. So everyone has their own journeys to build, and the beauty is Toastmasters in one club, you'll find all these varieties coexisting without being frowned upon.
That's true. Hmm.
That is why you're able to function so well, because if everyone is just doing communication, just competing, who will organize it for you? Who will run the club for you?
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah. And if everyone wants to be the club president, whom will you work for?
that's true.
And that's the beauty of Toastmasters, that right? It lets us coexist, lets us do our thing, what we want to do. So first few months, 3 to 4 months, just sit back, relax, take up one or two minor roles, maybe the tag team roles, maybe give a speech, get to know people, attend a few meetings,
Mhm.
take it at a slow pace. It's not a race.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's very similar to going to the gym, which people go for 3 months, assuming they will get fit, and then they realize, oh, I've been working out for 3 months, I don't see my muscles coming out. It
True.
takes its own time, right? And that's how Toastmasters is different from your regular training programs, which are possibly for 2 weeks or two
Right.
weekends, right? It's a continuous learning program. Only if you're willing to do it continuously for a long period of time is when you sign up for Toastmasters and be a part of it. If you expect instant results that पहले मैं ऐसा था, ये क्रीम लगाने के बाद ऐसा हो गया, to for our audience again, I was ABC like this before, I used this cream, and now I've become suddenly fairer. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Give it its time to nurture. Some of the best food items, I think, uh, since Hyderabad is part of 126, biryani takes its time to simmer, takes the time for that aroma to be set inside that, right?
Yeah.
Give it that time. Figure out what you enjoy doing. Try, let's say you want to start communication, it didn't work out for you, move to leadership.
Mm.
There is no stopping you from transition. There is nobody judging you as well over here that, oh, he used to contest, he was such a bad contestant. Now that's how now he became a leader. Nobody says that to you, right? They are helpful for you because they always need volunteers in different spots over here.
Yeah.
But give it some time, take it slow, 3 to 4 months, figure out your niche, figure out what you want to build your skills on.
Mm.
Alright? Just don't come as a movie theater show. Come watch a movie, let's see people speak and go. Come, spend some time, figure out what you want to do, talk to your mentor, talk to your friends, and then start carving a path for yourself in that direction. And it's okay to course correct. After a while, you see, okay, leadership is not for me. I can't spend so much time organizing events,
Yeah.
working for someone else. Move to communication,
Yeah.
whatever works for you.
That absolutely makes sense. I just finished my term as an area director, and that was
Oh,
my thought. I was like, oh my God. For me at that point in time, I thought, okay, it might be a good way of learning things, but then at the end of it, I had mixed thoughts. And then I've seen people who've thrived in a role where in a leadership role as well, and they have had so much to learn. So I think it's, as you rightly said, it's a perfect balance, and you do not need to feel bad if one role was not something that you've enjoyed, and there could be, and it's different for everyone. I think that was one of the best advices I've heard, because I've seen a lot of people say, hey, I'm trying to juggle between so many things, which one do I pick? And this, you do what serves best for you at that point in time. I think that was one of the best advices I've heard. Definitely. Since we're talking also about leadership and district officers role or excom roles, which one was which of the roles that you've played was the most, I would say, enjoyable or challenging role that you've played till date? When was that time you thought, okay, this is crazy, but I'm enjoying it, sort of a situation?
okay, that's a very interesting question. Enjoying and challenging are never in the same boat. Of course, this year was extremely challenging, very taxing in terms of district director, because it's kind of the CEO of an organization, right? For the region that you're over here. You're responsible for everything. be it
Right.
quality, be it growth, be it retention, be it finance, be it administration, be it PR marketing. You're responsible, accountable, and answerable for all the criterias over here. All
Right.
right. So every day you're juggling different hats, trying to learn what's happening on this boat, and you keep moving. So I think the most challenging year is, of course, it's the director because you're constantly on the move. There are infinite deadlines that happen every week, every month,
Right.
and we only have 12 months to prove ourselves, right? It's
Right.
not that okay, we missed the targets this quarter, let's cover up the next quarter kind of
Right.
stuff. Right? You only have a finite period to test your skills and prove yourselves. So I think from challenging perspective, yes, did I enjoy the year? Today when I sit back with that Smedley on the board, yes, of course, I'm enjoying the fruits of what we did the entire 12 months. Of course, the team worked really, really hard for this. But if you ask me, which year I enjoyed without a lot of responsibility was the division director's year. It
Oh,
was the COVID year, 2020-21, when I was the division director, where we could do a lot of innovative ideas that we brought on the table because we were all online. The first year of COVID,
right.
everyone was free. Everyone was using Zoom, and it was the first year, so there was no Zoom fatigue as well. So people wanted to do more things.
Right.
And that gave us a scope to do a lot of ideas, innovations without having the responsibility of, of the growth of the district and quality and all that. You were just focusing on having fun and doing things for members first. All right.
Correct.
Like it's said, right, with great power comes great responsibility. And that's the shift that happened as the district director. So very similar chain of thoughts in terms of division director, district director, but the DD is supposed to be more subtle, more responsible, more accountable, more conflict resolution specialist. Division director, you can just do your job and get away with it without having to worry about a lot of consequences.
Right.
So that's how I put that across, as the two roles that I had.
Oh, wow. Wow. And I'm sure both of these had immense learnings, and of course, the results show. As you said, the consequences, we see that as this medley distinguished. That's brilliant. And this would have also brought in an opportunity to network with people outside the district, outside the region as well. And I did notice in your profile that you love networking. I just wanted to understand one aspect. A lot of times when we meet in district conferences or within Toastmasters, you end up saying, "Hi, I'm from a particular club. My name is so and so," and you have you exchange an awkward set of small talk as such. You have that, and then you move on. You do not really make it a net worth. So what is your mantra when it comes to making the most out of networking events, or really making your network as a network and not just an awkward saying hi, hello, situation? What would your take be on that?
So that's a very typical problem at a lot of events. Like, let me ask this question back to you. How do you know me?
I was introduced by the PQD.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So the PQD knew me, right?
Right,
So the networking, the funda or the mantra is typically is how many people know you.
right.
It's not how many people I know.
Oh, okay.
All right. I may know 50 people in the room, but do 50 people know me? Then
Hmm.
that's my network. If it's only one person who knows, recognizes my face or knows me by my name, then it's not my network. So if I go
Yeah,
and say hi to 50 people, uh, I will know 50 people possibly because I want to build that network. But
right.
do they know me? Will they have a recall value of me? And
Hmm.
that's the very rookie mistake a lot of us make in terms of, a lot of events. We just exchange a visiting card with 50 people
Yeah,
just for the heck of collecting 50 visiting cards.
right.
So the right way to look at this is that in Toastmasters, you might meet the same set of people at multiple events
Hmm.
or at club meetings and all of that. So I remember the pre-COVID days. I used to be very active in terms of attending contests at club levels, different area contests, different division contests. So I used to bump into similar phases multiple times, and that's
Right.
how I used to build my connection and network with these individuals. But if that keeping that aside, you're attending just one or two events, it's good to interact with 5 or 10 people, get to know what they do better, get to know how they can help you. Because in Toastmasters, the beauty is anyone can be your mentor. You
Yeah.
can learn from anyone, and it doesn't have to be the complete skill set. Let's say I see Shravya is an amazing podcast host. Tomorrow I want to start my podcast. Can I reach out to Shravya for inputs?
Yeah.
Now, since we know each other, you might still be willing to have a chat with me.
Right,
Since I knew Charan, I was happy to do this podcast directly, right?
right,
If I did not know Shravya, you will say, okay, let's chat tomorrow, let's chat after a week.
right.
Okay, I'm little busy that way. And that's a typical human mindset and psychology. So
Correct.
at all these events, try and build your network where the other person knows you as well. Show
Hmm.
interest in the conversation. Let's say someone is good at humor. Just learn humor from that person. You don't have to
Hmm.
learn everything else from that individual.
Right.
Someone is good at voice modulation. Okay, I have a very flat tone.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at some people who are able to sing really well, who are able to show emotions really well, they could sad, suddenly. You want to learn those skill sets from those individuals, right? So
Right.
learn from that people, but find the people you want to network with. Don't go
Right.
around exchanging visiting cards and saying, "Hey, I'm Hardik. I'm from Mumbai Toastmasters Club." Uh, down
Yeah.
one. Next person, "Hi, I'm Hardik. I'm from Mumbai Toastmasters Club."
Yeah.
Imagine they have also met 50 such people.
Right.
How will they remember you?
Right.
When you had a conversation, you have shown interest in Shravya's personal interest, what she wants to do, and then you pitch in yourself over there. That's when their person will remember you.
Yeah. Makes sense. So it like not always be the numbers, and just for the sake of doing it, you don't introduce yourself to 50, 100 people, but select a few and ensure that it's meaningful. Wow. Thank you, Hardik. I am going to make sure that I utilize this in the upcoming events that we have, and I'm sure we've become, a network as such, and we can always reach out to each other thanks to this. So say yes to opportunities that come your way. Okay, brilliant. Hardik, that was amazing. Before we let you go, I have a simple rapid fire round for you where I'll be asking you just three simple questions, and you can let us know what your thoughts are on that.
So do I get a gift hamper at the end of it?
Well, that's on our common
Okay.
friend Charan, who is going to send it to you.
Sure.
Okay, brilliant. So, your first question for you is one advice on communication that has changed your perspective.
We always think we are the best speaker in the room, but that's not the case.
Okay. I think yes. Okay, makes sense. Three tips on how to get the most out of your Toastmasters membership.
Attend meetings even on days you don't feel like attending. Um, Go on the stage, nobody's judging you.
Mhm.
And I think um, talk to people. I think talking to people is kind of therapy as well.
Mm,
And you do not know, I've made a lot of good friends in Toastmasters, very honestly. So talk to people. You're not sure your next business partner, life partner, or life coach will be in a Toastmasters meeting.
brilliant, brilliant. I think yes, that definitely is true to a very great extent. I've found some of the best. I found my good tribe in Toastmasters. Okay, and my third question is a book or a movie or podcast you recommend your audience to become a better version of themselves.
Oh, I think this is the simplest question. My favorite movie is Ye Jawani Hai Diwani. It's got a lot of dialogues and scenes that I replicate in my Toastmasters life as well. One of the favorite dialogues, of course, is how much ever you try, something will be left behind.
Right.
So don't hurt yourself or don't, keep beating yourself for those moments. Enjoy wherever you are. So, yeah, if you watch that movie, you will get a lot of life lessons which people do not realize right now. And I think, yeah, that's a go-to movie.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Hardik, for spending your time with us and sharing your perspectives on Toastmasters life and professional careers as well. We thank you for being our first guest on our podcast, and we absolutely enjoyed your presence here. And we hope to hear more from you very, very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shravya, for having me on Perspective. All the best to all members of District 126. I'm sure this next program year is going to be one of the best you've had in Toastmasters. Enjoy and keep smiling.
Thank you so much, Hardik.